I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange. So you deny all accusations by the prosecution? Both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey and that you have masterminded the assassin exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yes? Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom? I'm defense lawyer for Baroque Van Zieks because I believe in his innocence. A desire to uncover the truth. Well, I mean, that too, I guess. Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty. From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth. I want you to remember what you just said. Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense. Proceed to cross-examine the witness. Yes, my lord. Why am I even doing this? I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. There's a contradiction? But wait, I do believe Baroque Van Zieks when he says he has nothing to do with the Reaper. Or that he has never taken the life of another. No common thread exists between yourself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. No common thread? Why would you say that? The autopsy report. Not this one, but the other one. It's signed by John H. Wilson. And Gregson and you are good friends after all. Yeah, Clint Van Zieks is the common thread.
Hold it!
There's a link between you and Gregson, though. Of course, we were close acquaintances. We'd worked on numerous cases together. I consider the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons. He did? Such as what? Where to buy good fish and chips and such like. Okay. Well, that was convincing. Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course, but that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at a Japanese university. That's right, he was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo. It should be unambiguously clear then that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the oceans to kill the man. It sounds plausible enough, and I want to believe it, but something about this just doesn't quite sit right with me. Oh no! They didn't refill my penalty points! Uh-oh. Just in case, I wanna save. Should I present the autopsy report here?
Objection!
What is this? An autopsy report? Wait, this is 10 years old, from the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. What? My brother's autopsy report? I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth. Order in court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report to your counsel? This, the autopsy report of the professor's final victim, is an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. Not that accursed name again, the professor. I've personally researched all of the court records relating to that case. Oh yeah, Gregson was the one who ordered the autopsy report. Yeah, credit to Inspector Gregson for petitioning. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead, Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure. And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document. As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Azuki was guilty. Hold on. So if we assume Genshin Azuki was innocent, right, that someone wanted to frame Genshin Azuki, then yeah, it's very likely that Gregson ordered the autopsy report because he wanted to plant some false evidence against Genshin Azuki. And assuming he did that under the Reaper's orders, the secret organization, then the Reaper must be involved somehow, right? But that also means Dr. H. Wilson is involved. Tobias Gregson is the assassination target. Someone else wants to get rid of the Reaper, I guess. Yeah, and if we assume Tobias Gregson was in cahoots with Dr. Wilson, Dr. Wilson was also an assassination target. But hold on, Asa Shin was also the Reaper. Also part of the Reaper, right? Why would she kill one of their own? What? This doesn't make sense. Tobias Gregson was part of the Reaper, right? And Asa Shin was part of the Reaper. But Asa Shin was also the assassin. And Tobias Gregson was the assassination target. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Which is what exactly? What clue did he leave behind? Scarlet ink stains on the little and ring fingers of the right hand. Huh? Oh, no, vital evidence recovered from the victim's stomach. But we don't know yet what exactly has been found. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory in court. A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. That's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced, isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange. Holy crap, that really does sound very plausible. Very, very plausible. This is bad. Order at once. 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. You have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Dimponese's tenacity of purpose here. However, he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Come on, Kazuma, you know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, that's nothing more than a wild accusation. As it happens, I have evidence. Oh, okay. What? As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. What? That was a thing? They wanted to kill Seishiro Jigoku? But someone else wanted to kill Gregson? Is this a thing? Are you lying, Kazuma? I don't even know what to believe anymore. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. Hold on, that is not evidence. Gregson is now dead, he can't testify to that. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my client's illustrious sword, Karuma, before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was.
Right, I see. You're that ugly young lad, are you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it?
That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth, that's all.
Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was a professor. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh, maybe it's the Reaper organization. They believed he was the professor, but there was no evidence, right? So they fabricated something? Or this was some precursor to the Reaper, where they did not kill the criminals, they worked with false evidence or something.
But unfortunately back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick.
So, you admit it then? The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated?
It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders.
Following orders? What exactly did you do? Speak.
I'm not saying another word.
Even if your life depends on it?
That's right, even then.
So that's when the tip of the sword broke. Oh, Kazuma-sama. If the results of Clint Van Zieks' autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer Gregson and the lead coroner Wilson must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Baruch Van Zieks. How did you come to that conclusion? In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins. Exactly, and as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused, Baruch Van Zieks.
Objection!
Kazuma Azuki. What? What you've just told the court, are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission. I mean, it's not like I don't believe Kazuma, but you don't have any evidence. In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper. What? What? Lord Van Zieks? I gave no such orders, I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one. Okay. If Lord Van Zieks isn't the one behind all this, then yes, there's only one other person who could have done something like that. What? How did you come to that conclusion? I believe I know who it is too. I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is... What? I have to save. What is happening? Not you, not you, not you, not you, not you, not you. Male Strongheart. Not you. Not you, not you, not you. Gregson, not you. Not you. Not you. Nope. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Male Strongheart. But why though? I know Strongheart was the mentor. Was the original prosecutor, right, for that case, but Lord Van Zieks wanted to prosecute him. But this is quite a jump in logic here, I feel like.
Take that!
The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is the Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Male Strongheart. Well, isn't this convenient that he's the judge today? That means, yeah, he won't do anything against himself, right? What? Lord Strongheart? Yes, it's true that 10 years ago, the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court. But he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Zieks, had been killed. I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history. Well, Lord Van Zieks, 10 years ago, I was very new to my profession, but I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined, all the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now, I was very much mistaken. It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Seishiro Jikoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey. The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. Okay, I'm the defense lawyer here, Van Zieks. It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best. You're not going to defend yourself? You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zieks' autopsy. That's utterly untrue.
Objection!
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where is your evidence? Yeah, Cosmo, where's your evidence? What? Gregson's dead now, unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand. You mean to say... I forget how the system works in your little backwater country, but in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence there is no case. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything. Order in court. Following Inspector Gregson's murder and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events of 10 years ago, is there? So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections. Kazuma, he's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth about what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint Van Zieks' autopsy. I mean, we have to say there is someone, right? But who? Seishiro Jigoku? Yuji Mikotoba? I mean, he was there with Wilson when they conducted the autopsy, right? He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks, even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Scythe won't say anything against Strongheart. But there's still one ray of hope.
Objection!
Actually, there's one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy. Don't be ridiculous, there's no one left. Who, Ryunosuke, who? Tell me. Kazuma, Please, this trial can't end. Not yet. Consider our friendship reinstated. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth. What? Why do you have to say that? I said our friendship, consider it reinstated. I'm doing this for you, Kazuma, and only for you. The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify about the autopsy of Lord von Clint Van Zieks is Yujin Mikotoba. But I have to save before I have because I do not have any penalty points left. But I'm pretty sure it's Yujin Mikotoba.
Take that!
Heaven help us, another Japanese! An expert in forensic medicine, my lord, Professor Yujin Mikotoba. 16 years ago. He came to London with Seishiro Jigoku and Genshin Azuki as a visiting student. And what could his testimony possibly tell us? Professor Mikotoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report. Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature. It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it. In other words, Professor Mikotoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mikotoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. The defense's demand is denied. What? On what grounds? But Professor Mikotoba is in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stand in minutes. No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself. Not very impartial is the judge, huh? Prosecutor Azuki, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin exchange. I did, yes. So present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete. At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence, but that's exactly why we need witness testimony. The professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Azuki, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father. Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seishiro Jigaku. You should have said that earlier, when I was on your side. As for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities.
Objection!
But we all know what will happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again. By which you mean me. I can still take it back, right? Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later time. As for you, Prosecutor Azuki, you will be remanded following these proceedings, willingly I trust, since you gave your word. This futile game of revenge is over, young Master Azuki. That will be all. I hereby declare this trial to be over. Who was that? Hold it. No, it wasn't him. Hold it! Mr. Sholmes? This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, I love this Sholmes music. Sholmes theme. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Objection!
Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seishiro Jigaku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say. Lord Mayor Strongheart, it's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage. Is it really? And why would that be? You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, can it? Nice job using his own words against him. I love that. The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered. It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend to not along to the prevarications of your superiors? Wow. Order! Order in court! It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices, a door that is ajar. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now. The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence!
He's right, the judge has absolute authority here. Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end.
But will that really do? I sense dark things occurring behind the scenes. Dark things indeed.
Yes, there's a single person here who can honestly say,
What's...
the trial should go on, summon a witness.
That's right, we need to clear this up before young Japanese fellow is...
In my mind, I see the real judge in the public gallery and shouting all those things. My lord, you assure this present that you would encounter the truth. Vindicate yourself. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of British law.
A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery.
Testify! Testify! Testify!
Well, my lord, you hear the voice of the British justice, I take it. I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence. The court will recess briefly. I have no intention of shrinking from these allegations. Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives, we shall reconvene. A recess won't be necessary, my lord. Pardon? Oh, he prevented him to going around and maybe, I don't know, threatening them or something? Mikotoba is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact. What? Professor Mikotoba is here in the courthouse? Mr. Sholmes, you didn't know this would happen, did you? My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, surely. I was just asking for the fun of it, you know. I underestimated Sholmes. Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once. But of course, in truth I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you? Absolutely. It's still in my pocket. She sends her regards and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please. Oh, of course. In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand. So it's Lord Strongheart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial going to take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom and confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under.